Hey everyone, I hope you're all doing well and staying safe. For this video, we'll be going through a contents review of the D-Style Rayleonard 03-Aaliyah, and I believe it's Supplice? Question mark. And this is from Armored Core, released by Kotobukiya back in 2011. So I thought I would quickly knock out at least one video, particularly for the month of April, for Armored Core, also known as Armored Core April. Happens every year. I did try and pop onto it last year, oddly enough with another D-Style, so I thought I would jump on board again and do yet another D-Style, because it's almost halfway through April. Now, I did pick this up from HobbyLink Japan back in the day, and as far as I can tell, for the most part, the D-Style range is probably discontinued. So, I will not be able to provide a link to this particular D-Style version of this model at HobbyLink. However, the 1:72 scale version of it, I can provide a link to. I do have a few of the proper 1:72 scale Armored Core sets as well, and I will eventually do one, if not all of them. I don't have a lot, but I do have a few. But I will definitely say the 1:72 looks amazing in terms of detailing, so if this little version strikes your fancy, you might want to have a look at the big version. So yes, have a look at the link that I'll have in the description below. Anyway, preamble aside, as a contents review, so as I do with all my contents reviews, the box is flat packed, so whilst I do still have the original box, it's flat packed in storage and things like that. So this video will just go through everything that was in the box. So here we have the construction manual for the Rayleonard Aaliyah. A few shots of the completed and probably painted kits on the front. D-Style, if you weren't aware, is basically Kotobukiya's version of SD type kits, where they've basically shrunk the scaling and gave it a rather deformed head, which is fine. It's cute, which is cool. So there's the front. In terms of the back, so Kotobukiya have the color guide on the back, so there's some coloring in the plastic, but to give it the true correct coloring, these are your colors. It is all in Japanese, so I can't unfortunately tell you specifically what colors they are. In terms of what is inside, I do know there is this little insert, which is basically the parts list. So before we look through the build, there's the parts list. So everything is still on plastic runners, as we would expect. So we have two different A runners, two Bs of the same, a C, a D, E, F, G, and two polycaps. Trying to remember if I remember seeing the C runner. I guess we'll find out soon. So that's what's included. So surprisingly, a good amount of pieces, but it will have a bit of a simplistic build, given it's a D-Style. So, in terms of the actual instructions, okay, so here we go. Starting with number one. So this will be, I believe they start with the arms and work their way through. Yeah, so I believe these are the arms and to the shoulders. Moving on to the legs, followed by the head, which will obviously have some very supersized proportions to it, going through the body, or the main torso, I should say. The waist section, and then going through some of the weapons and the final putting everything together, which is pretty cool. And surprisingly, there is an actual spot on it for a display base. And if I remember correctly, similar to the one I built last year, they do provide some different configurations for the rear. So maybe not so much the D-style line, but I do know the 1-72 did try to encourage mixing and matching opportunities between your Armored Core mechs, much like the game did, to basically mix and match your chassis as you please. So that's the manual. Now, in terms of the runners, so we'll start with the 2A runners, so A1 and A2, which will possibly like this to make a full A runner. Kotobukiya obviously like to do some really good detailing on these parts, and there's definitely some nice details in them. So panel lining will be very fun. And in terms of the colour, I dare say it's a type of grey. At least that's what I think it is. So there's A1 and A2. Moving on to the Bs. So 2B runners, they are an exact copy, still in that grey theme. So there'll be probably parts of the shoulders and obviously the feet. Once again, nice detailing in these pieces, especially some of these vents. So 2Bs. The C, which is a darker colour, maybe more like a charcoal, possibly even a metal grey of sorts. It does have a little bit of a sheen on it. So once again, some very nice detailing. In fact, looking at this piece in particular, there's some very nice detailing there. The various pieces, some very small pieces as well. So that's the C runner. Moving to the D, which is probably in that similar charcoaly, metally type colour. It does have a bit of a sheen on it. So some smaller parts. Once again, some more venting. Moving to E, which is going to be a bit of a gold of some description. So I know those two bottom pieces will be for the head. And then I'm guessing the other bits will be, well, I think this bit here is still for the head and the other's probably just some rivets. So that's the small E runner. We have a very small F runner, which is a translucent red. So this will be a visor for the head. We have a G runner, which seems to have gone back into the grey. Most of these look to be the included weapons. So some will be held in the hand, some will be attached on the shoulders. And then lastly, we have two polycap runners, both in black. So a PC1 and a PC2. So that brings us to an end of the contents review of the Rayleonard 03-Aaliyah Supplice. Should be a very quick build, but I know the detailing will probably bog me down a bit. It will definitely help because I'm not going to try and color correct this. So pretty much working with what is there. But yes, this will be my contribution to Armored Core April for 2022. Hopefully next year I will get my act together and actually try and do a proper 1:72 scale set instead. But we'll see. I knew it was coming up, but timing, well, not so much timing, but planning things fell through. So as I said, this will be my contribution. And as I said at the beginning of the video, I will have a link to the 1:72 scale version of this set over at HobbyLink Japan. And yes, it looks great. The detailing is there. You'll definitely have a lot of fun, and it pretty much aligns to your usual Kotobukiya kits at that particular scale. Thank you for watching this video. Feel free to leave a like, a comment, subscribe if you wish to do so. All of this does help support the channel, and I do greatly appreciate it. Extra content can also be found on my Instagram account, link below. Stay safe and take care, and I will catch you all in the next video. See ya.